Our sponsors for this episode are Hall's Tree Service. Locally owned and operated, Hall's Tree Service has been exceeding and surpassing customer demands in Newton and the surrounding area for over 40 years. Larry and his crew are guaranteed to work hard for you. There's no tree too tall, no job too small. Call Hall's at 316-772-1919. Absolute drain. Look, no one, and I mean no one, likes it when their sink, bathtub, washing machine, or especially their toilets start backing up. It's even worse when they won't drain or flush at all. No matter who you are, it happens to us all. If this is happening to you, then you need to give Garth with Absolute Drain a call. Absolute Drain is located at 420 West Broadway in Newton and has been faithfully serving Newton and surrounding areas for longer than I can even remember. I personally use Absolute Drain, and they have kept my pipes cleaned out and flowing day one. It might just be time for you to give them a call too at 316-283-7264. The Newton Kansan is Newton's longest-running local newspaper covering all the stories, people, places, and things happening in our community. Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, editor of the Kansan, works diligently to ensure integrity, accuracy, and unbiased news is delivered to your doorstep 3 times a week for an unbeatable price. You can also sign up for online-only access for around $7 a month. That's 12 online papers a month for only $7. If you've not subscribed, it's time you do. Visit them in their office at 517 North Main Street. That's 517 North Main Street in Newton. Online at thekansan.com. That's thekansan.com. Or give them a call at 316-283-1500. That's 316-283-1500. Support local journalism, support the Kansan. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this HCTalk podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lance Gormley, and my 2 co-partners in crime to spread as much hate and discontent as humanly possible across the airwaves of America and abroad are Andy Ortiz, local businessman and entrepreneur, and Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, editor of the Kansan paper, to give an unbiased.
Really? That knocked you off your game? Wow.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
I got to keep saying it. I mean, it's almost like digging the knife in. You know, we like to, let's practice some rage.
I will
folks.
give my educated opinion.
You're educated, partially
and if I'm
biased.
not educated, I'll let you know.
I love it. I mean, when we had the conversation about whether or not you can have an unbiased opinion, I keep milling that around in my head, and it's like, it is an oxymoron, but we can keep saying it because we want to piss people off on the program. And
just don't call me a moron.
Don't call you a moron. We'll call you a choron.
Whatever.
That's your new nickname.
Oh,
we'll do that. We'll do
no,
that.
I got a nickname.
We still need shirts.
Yes, we do.
Shirts. I'm with
Some
stupid,
things
and
y'all
it's
guys
pointed
say.
up at my face.
I'm like, we need to coin this stuff.
Yeah, I know. We do.
Yeah, if you're looking for some merch, we're working on it. So,
well, we need to quit working on it, and we need to start selling it, man.
People don't
you're
understand
right.
the backgrounds of this stuff, man.
But Buddy Boy is broke and
There's
need to buy a new set of tires.
A lot of conversations going on behind the scenes, and you got to have the right partners to move forward because you don't want to starve the vision.
Starve the vision.
Not starving the vision needs people that can put some fuel behind it.
Yeah,
for the right reasons.
Absolutely. So in light of that, always like, comment, share, follow, subscribe, do whatever you got to do to support the program. Feel free to comment. We do believe on this podcast. Obviously, the 3 of us don't agree on everything equally. We even
thank God for that.
For sure.
Course jest each other once in a while. So just look that up in the Webster's Dictionary, the Oxford Dictionary, and you can educate yourself on what coarse jesting actually is. We give each other a run for our money sometimes. But with that being said, we said last week that we would pick up where we left off. The death in Minneapolis. Is it justified or unjustified? Who's to blame? And as we've watched since then, I'm glad we waited a week to really cover it because a lot is going on there on so many levels and across the United States. And then, of course, across the globe, because we do want to cover Greenland, Ireland. Is this a global war?
Not Ireland.
Oh, excuse me.
Greenland, you did this beforehand,
Iran.
too.
Okay, there are eyes. I struggle with eyes. Greenland, Iran. Is it global war, domination, or the end of America as we know it?
Oof,
and then the slumber. Harsh. Are people waking up, or are they still asleep? So, with that being said, I'm going to throw out my opinion first so people can dogpile me and be pissed off. Okay. After watching and really processing, I almost want to put my initials out there and say lag, dragging behind, that's my initials, or whatever. And it's like, I always like covering things not in the moment. You know, news wants to be first. They got to be first. They got to be first. And so then you don't have all the information, which then causes people to draw their own conclusion or draw whatever conclusion is being.
But CNN got it right.
Or Fox. I was thinking Fox News had it exactly.
CNN got it right, and then Fox News got it better right.
Yes.
More righter.
Yeah, because they're the right.
And then the internet got it the rightest.
Oh, yeah, of course. And then everybody's got their opinion, right? And then you even take technology, and there's stuff floating around that's AI. That's not even what really happened. Oh, you can see this or that or this or that. Okay. So my opinion on this, sorry if I'm pissing you off, but I can see wrongs on both ends. And I am 100% supportive of law enforcement. I'm supportive of immigration customs enforcement. They are part of it, okay? I truly believe that there are so many people in this country that are here illegally or were given refugee status by another administration that might not have been in the best interest of America. And we're dealing with all these problems, right, that are contradictory to our laws. So with that being said, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm sure there are times in which people are being arrested and deported that I am not in favor of, and I'm thinking, man, you know, why are we doing that, right? Why are we doing that? But I have a true criticism or skepticism of government in general, so it's like, or what they're doing is actually what they say. So not to get into the weeds here, but, you know, the only thing I can say about the situation when it comes to ICE, and that was that I believe the individual that lost their life were 100% in the wrong. Not for protesting, not for being against what they were doing, but doing it the way that they did it, okay? Which was ultimately trying to block traffic, get in the way of what would be considered official business. And then when being told, you need to stop, get out of the car, stop, that deciding, I'm just going to take off is never a good idea. Does it justify a shooting? I think that I'm very undecided on this. Right?
I'm not undecided on that.
Okay, then let me finish real quick.
In this case, the punishment does not fit the crime.
Okay, so but okay, and then we can because I could argue this, right? But then also, God bless the law enforcement officer's heart. I really got to say this, with the belief system that they're not a nefarious person, that they're not there, you know, itching to shoot somebody. I don't believe that about law enforcement. I'm sure there's always one bad apple somewhere in the mix or whatever the case may be. But because I'm not somebody that's just going to give law enforcement a blank check to write, right? I just don't believe in that. Nor do I believe that the mass majority of law enforcement officers want a blank check to write. You know, I don't think they're just like, man, I got to shoot somebody today. You know, I just can't wait to hurt somebody today. But looking at that, I asked the question, and maybe law enforcement could, you know, chime in on this or something, you know, as far as just, you know, anonymously or whatever the case may be. But by goodness, if I was a law enforcement officer, I think the last place that I would put myself is right in front of a vehicle. I'm not going to stop that vehicle if they want to drive. Okay, and then putting myself in that situation, knowing that if this criminal or this individual that wants to get away very likely is going to run my ass over, I would just not put myself in that. I mean, you would have to go out of your way to run me over for me to have to pull a weapon. And we can't be critical because everything happens so fast. But
you're right.
But who's to blame, guys?
Well,
who's to blame?
See, here's the deal. There's policy discussion as well here. What you just brought up, there's policy about. Do you stand in front of a running vehicle? And if you dig around enough, you'll find that ICE themselves has a policy that says, no, you don't. ICE has a policy to not shoot at a moving vehicle.
Could it be that in his mind's eye, he thought to himself, I'm just standing here, this is all happening real fast, and then all of a sudden, what we know.
He was fanning around because they're playing games with switching license plates and things. It was even out in the video because they're trying to play games. And the lady even said, we're not going to change the license plate, firing people up, antagonizing. And he was fanning around. And the other thing happened when he was and then he started coming up.
Because somebody's trying to get the door open.
But so it's not like he was just hanging out trying to block the car. He was fanning around.
he wasn't.
So
But
there's a lot of circumstance.
At the end of the day, there's...
I think for me, my opinion is we had 20 million people poor in the country, ballpark. We had people emptying prisons out. So that's why he's beating up Venezuela, because they literally emptied out prisons, put them on buses, and took them to the border. You have a lot of criminals that, rapes and all that were going up. Crime was surging. We saw it in the big cities where these people were being dropped. We were spending a bunch of money, pissed a lot of people off that are working really hard trying to make it. I understand we want to be good humans, but I also understand we got to take care of our own first, or we'll have nothing to take care of anybody. Then you had these games going on where this became politicized, where Abbott was sending people that were getting dumped in Texas all over the country to these places that were saying we're okay with it in the interiors.
Sending them to Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken.
They were one of them. They were like, hey, we're sanctuary. And they're like, oh, sure, here, take them, because we're not, right? Making a point. And whether you like it or not, I might have made that call if I was in his position, because Texas was getting hurt bad, and they were having to pay for it at a state level when they didn't want to, because the federal government was putting this pressure on them. And they already have their own issues. Creative, political, it was wrong, but they did it. But the other side was wrong too, right? Two wrongs don't make a right. This is old school stuff here. Mm-hmm. Then you activate a community of people coming into the country that see a goose on a pond, real. There's videos of these things, and it's not everybody, but it was happening because these people don't know.
The culture they came from.
Oh, dude, if you're from an immigrant family, you know what I'm talking about. I can speak on that. I grew up in the middle of it. You know what I mean? You have all these things going on and people getting upset. Then you find out after an investigation, and I'll finish pretty quick here, but that there were, and yes, they're going to call them a right wing, whatever. How right wing are you to say, hey, I went and knocked on these doors and I'm following up on this information I got from this gentleman that's been tracking this for 6 years and has pictures and cameras where none of these vehicles have moved at this location for 8 months. And they're getting $2.3 million a year. So you follow up on that and you find out there's rampant fraud. You find out that the entitlement systems are giving out like 80% of the monies to a certain community, right? You got all these things going on, and then the government gets a flashlight on it. So now they're like, well, we're going to come in and help you get some of this stuff cleaned up. Well, then the politics of that area is going, don't come in here because their constituents don't like it, because they're hardcore liberal minded, which is fine. But at the end of the day, that local government is not helping for ICE to come in and do their job, or nobody would block a street off without consequence, because local PD would take care of that. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But that's not happening because they're saying don't help those people.
Yeah.
So then you got another wrong on another wrong, and you continue to escalate, put people in danger. And so you're going to be going, I saw a video, and I said this on this podcast before, in Dallas, Texas, where they were raiding a strip club / hotel. It's on camera. This is all factual. You can find it. It was in Dallas, Texas. And people were screaming, fascist, racist, da-da-da. That group of people was a drug cartel organization connected to a strip club that were prostituting women, and one of those girls was 14 years old that they were bringing out of there. I mean, where's the middle here? And so I think there's all those wrongs don't make a right. I hate that somebody got killed over it. I'm going to be more on Lance on your side of this, is like when you have a car blocking off and impeding federal things, honking horns and giving people access to go to grab their guns if they're going to make a final stand, because some of these people are mean people. They're not good people. I mean, they're raping children, some of these people. Not all of them, and most of them aren't, but some of them are. And we've got to find those freaking people.
Yeah. And and then here's this, okay?
And I hate the fact, real quick, that there are good people that just wanted a damn chance that are getting caught up in this. Yeah. That are illegal. They came here not the right way.
Probably the majority. I mean, that's the thing. It's the
I would think so.
It's just like goes back to everything that we're saying. There's a common theme here, which is it's the 25% on one side or the 25% on the other side, and I argue that it might even be less than that. It might be 10% on one side and 10% on the other, and when you do the math, on 350 million people in this country, then that's a staggering amount. That's a lot of people that could potentially do a lot. And so then we have this same situation. And I was just thinking as you were talking, Andy, so part of the issue is the people being reactionary, immediately reactionary, no critical thinking skills. Now, Chad, agreed with you, like that there's policy, there's things to research here.
See, here's the thing,
but these people that are going out here and doing this are going off half-cocked, and they're like somehow or another, it's the person that sits behind the keyboard that just immediately clamps onto whatever it is they read and respond. And
here's the deal.
And anger and frustration. Well, when you go out to the street and you do that, you might just eat a bullet. From a citizen, because I promise you, as a law-abiding citizen who believes in the right for people to keep and bear arms, that's always in my mind. People are going to FO and FAFO.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are.
And that's sad,
when you go up to the guy that you think, like what we talked about, everybody's in this zone, I'm badass, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this. You go up and you F with the wrong person, they're going to make you pay.
And it's going to be the guy that's calculated, that's looking for a reason to live out what he's thought about 1,000 reps over. That's going to do everything by the book, and he's going to shoot you in the face, and he's going to make sure that there was enough people that saw it where he's going to get away with it. There's people that are sick like that.
Yes.
And you're going to run into one of them.
Yes, you are.
And when it comes to the Minnesota situation, there are two people that FAFO'd. One is an ICE member. One was a driver / protester. And, you can hate me all you want, folks. I'm sitting here. I've been waiting to make this statement. There's a reason I brought up the policy. And the reason and all of that. It's because I don't think there was anybody that was in the right here. Everybody was freaking wrong. Everybody.
From the blocking of the road to putting yourself in a bad position where you had to shoot somebody in the face. Wrong and
all
wrong. Don't make a right.
All of it.
Well, you think about what's wrong and right.
And the unfortunate circumstances, we now have a guy with internal bleeding, and we've got somebody dead.
Yeah, that's going to have to deal with the fact that he had to take somebody's life because he was
that's
in
a whole
that
other deal.
situation.
And he just was in a situation 2 weeks before
where
he got drugged, or even for longer before that. But anyways, here's the thing that I just love about what you did, and it happened to me this morning in the sauna. I'll tell a quick story, and I think it'll matter to our viewers. I think this is our goal. Is
this G-rated or
no? This is G. I won't say the F-bombs or anything.
No. We were talking about you in the sauna this morning.
You in the sauna.
No, you brought as best you could a level and placed it on a scale, and there was nuance because there are people, 10% and 10%, that make the reactors online. The provocateurs make the reactors feel like, because of whatever political affiliation, they have to be only on one or the other. Not saying both pieces of the government are wrong. Both people who were on the ground are wrong. It's sad that somebody's dead. That's the ultimate. But it's sad that the cop had to pull the trigger, and it's sad that she was blocking the road. But none of them were right. And at the end of the day, there's nuance. And that's, I believe, what we're missing.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that feel that way, Andy. And see, this is difficult for me because you guys know I am pro law enforcement, right? So and the standard in which we talk about prosecution, okay, especially when it comes to law enforcement, it would any reasonable person being in a similar situation have reacted the same way?
I might have.
And I'm thinking, I can sit back, armchair quarterback, right, and say, he shouldn't have put himself in that situation. But all this is evolving
you
really
have
fast.
to go to there has to be context. When you ask that question, there's more to it than I'm standing in this position and I have my gun drawn. Am I going to shoot? Because you're not acknowledging what happened to him previously.
So there's some PTSD there, and we're not acknowledging
whether there is or not.
Be created. Yeah. We're not ignoring. Well, he was in the hospital for a little while.
No, but
last time
I know. I'm just saying whether there's PTSD or not.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reactionary thing.
You've got to go there.
And I was going to say this too. Two things before we move on, guys, to something else, and we can circle back around. But I thought Chad was going to say something, so it triggered in my mind what to say. That there's only two. You were talking about two people, right? The only two people that know what was going on in their brain and their intention in that very moment in time is the ICE agent.
Yep.
And the driver.
Yep.
And only God knows that. Okay. Now, because of all this is going on, I just want to say one more thing. This is spiraling out of control. Okay. And I think a bigger topic.
I'm doing my best to rein us in.
But I'm saying like it's spiraling out of control because now you have armed citizens exercising their right to go out and to fight ICE. I'm going to put on a semi-automatic rifle and I'm going to go stand on a street corner, and if ICE comes out, Black Panther Party, I was reading, is supposedly mobilized again against ICE.
Yes,
gangs in Chicago have said, if you come into our neighborhood, then we're at war. Okay, so this is spiraling out of control, and I think something that people need to realize, I think the moderate person, the people that are watching this, are thinking to themselves, like, you need to realize this, folks, okay? The way that we continue on in this democracy, this constitutional republic, we'll just call it that, is if you have grievances, there's a process in which you can address those grievances in our system. Not only that, but we have the right to elect people. So there's a mechanism, right? But don't go after the ICE officer. Don't go after the law enforcement officer. Go after the people that make the laws.
Yeah.
That are the ones that they're abiding by.
I think a big part that I haven't heard anybody really hit yet is the fact that the local governments aren't doing their part. Some of these local governments won't even let ICE in the jails where people are jailed for some of these crimes that some of these crimes are really bad.
They should be deported. Yes.
And they're in jail. And they won't let them come get those people who are here illegally, not appropriately, and in jail, and they won't let that happen. That's a problem. Okay? So there needs to be a little bit of looking at local government. There's also judges letting people off of crimes that have been committed, and they don't have to answer to nobody.
Yeah.
And these crimes are millions of dollars worth of fraud. That's not right either. Yeah. So there's another zooming in here that needs to take place, because when Obama was running around deporting 3.5 million people, you can't tell me they were all going through the courts appropriately and all that. You don't have enough judges to do that. That's bullcrap for all the people that are blinded, don't want to see that because of hardcore party affiliation crap.
Yeah.
On both sides of the aisle, frankly, just to be straight up, people know where I stand politically, but these hardcore left or right, no nuance people, get the hell out of my life.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
Yeah, get the hell out of my life.
Guy.
And that's fine.
I'm a Democrat, so whatever the Democrats do is fine. There's no hypocrisy here.
Or the Republicans too. There's some the same way. The Republicans are always right. We don't do anything. Like, dude, stay over there. Like, you have the right to be like that. Just don't do it around me, because I don't want to be around those people. Because there's no. So the nuance that I want to bring in here is there's so many layers of issues with the way government is choosing to function, and some of it comes down to the local government supporting the federal government when it's fair. Because cops, there is the way this is supposed to go. If the government was coming at our local community the wrong way, justified, the cops should turn and help us fight them.
A sheriff.
Yeah, a good sheriff would be on top of this.
Yeah.
And thank God we have a great one in Harvey County, right? And I believe in him 100% if something was to go down that wasn't legal and right.
But we don't get to choose what laws we abide by and what laws we don't in a
1,000%.
System that is of law and order.
But when
and
you're
that's
here
my
illegally, what is the law?
I mean,
should the local government help?
Yes.
And they're not helping in these areas where we're having problems. Yeah. That is the core of the problem right now. Until we change the law, like the Muslim issue, until we change the laws of the country, we have the balls to have people to do that and specify that, as messy as that would be, especially given why we were founded. Why are we complaining? And who do we need to get in place to make that happen if that's a conversation we want to have as a country? And frankly, I want to have that conversation
and I want to say
before it goes too far, because I've seen what's happened in other places.
I think we're on the verge, and I've said this over and over again. We are in a cold civil war right now, folks, and what we are seeing what we're seeing right now is the beginning of an all-out civil war. We really are. We really are. Mark my words. If this continues to evolve in the way that it is, it's going to spiral out of control. And I think it's in the process of spiraling out of control already. So, with that being said, okay, let's go globally of things that are spiraliling out of control.
Zoom out further.
Okay?
Let's do this.
Zoom out further, right? Not only is our own country burning, but Chad said, let me get out of the way.
I was like, I'm as local as you can get. I'm going way far back on this one.
Okay, so Greenland, Ireland, are we on the verge of a global war?
Iraq.
Did I say it again?
Yes,
I said Ireland
you did it again.
Well, maybe we'll
Got
put
that glitch.
Yeah, I got that glitch. Well, it's because what's going on in
straight up,
Ireland
dude.
right now. I'm watching what's going on in Ireland, and I'm like, oh my God, their country is burning.
Oh, dude.
Look at the UK. Their country is burning.
It's bad.
Not only is America burning, but the world is burning. In fact, the only countries, in my opinion, before we just to go here, that are not burning are, I mean, one could argue, but Russia, you don't see that happening there. China, you're not seeing a whole lot of that happening there. It's these pro-democracy countries that allow for people to have the most amount of freedom, such as to protest, to organize, free speech,
And freedom of religion.
freedom of religion. These are where these hot spots are at right now. So how do you solve that problem? Just let your mind wander on that. How do you solve that problem? You just remove all those intervention rights. It goes back to what I said before. Well, the government never lets a good crisis go to waste, right? So with that being said, are we in a global war? Is it about global domination? Or is this really just the beginning of the end of America?
We didn't start the fire. It was always burning.
And it goes on and on.
How long do you think?
Yeah.
I know we don't have like the facts, and you're got to be careful because of the hat you wear in the community, and I get it, right? But if we were just to be people and just estimate like the fire, you're right. How long? Because people want to say it's only when so and so took office. It's only when so and so took office. And I can do that down to the 90s, right? But when do you think the fire started? I have my opinion, right? I think as soon as we allow
You're
the
talking
CIA
about
to be involved
the
with killing
fires
Kennedy.
that we're trying to deal with here in the United States right now?
I'm talking about, you said the fire were started with this culture issue we're having.
I think in America, it started with the birth of America.
You think so?
It started the moment we set foot on the soil.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, was it a controlled burn? I think at times it has been a controlled burn. I'm not sure that on the global stage for as long, I mean, going back to Babylon, man, I don't think that honestly human beings, there's always been the fire when you're talking about civilization. It's always been one against the next, and there's always got to be a common enemy. Every time you have any... Okay, so I was researching a bit about this, National Socialism. We all know about National Socialism, right? Okay, right. Well,
Explain it.
Well, okay, in layman's terms.
We have young guys here watching this that are like 21, 22 years old.
Completely separating out Nazi. I mean, our algorithms are going to tank here.
You just said a word that for sure is gone.
Yeah, it's
They
gone.
might even
Okay, so if you're
dump this
listening, it's
video.
because you want to learn. Okay, so anyway, that's just National Socialism. So we all know what that is. And
Have
the
them look
term
it up. There
for
you
the
go.
worst. Yeah, look it up. Okay, but basically, nationalism is pro-country first, right? The Make America Great Again, the America First policies. That's a nationalist worldview, okay? Then you add in socialism or a form of socialism, which would be something like a robust and well-funded education system that everybody receives, K through 12. Another one might be universal health care. You know, you hear these things attached to socialism. Well, that's socialist, right? And it gets a bad name, but at the same time, there are so many things in our own country right now that do have are somewhat socialist that we accept. Taxes in and of itself for the common good would be considered a socialist principle, right? I have the same law enforcement officer that I can call that you can call, and our taxes mutually pay for this, right? That is borderline.
I don't know. I got a whole lot of cell phone numbers from NPD.
But you catch what I'm saying.
I think I can call a few
I don't
more,
have to pay for my own security, right?
I got you guys.
we don't get security just based upon our own individual ability to pay for it, right? That would be more capitalist. Okay, where if you can afford it, therefore you pay for it. Mm-hmm. If you can afford a road, therefore you pay for it. Or I'm going to build a road, and then you're going to pay me for it. Okay, and then you get into profit. Things that, generally speaking, we have that are just revenue taxes that you get from the public that then go to pay for public good. So, very, 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 very general term there. Look it up, research it. But speaking of this, okay, anytime you have a civilization, there's got to be a common enemy. There's no utopia here. Human nature is, I want what you have. Resources to self-sustain. If you have a civilization that requires food, water, fire, shelter, right? And then you have one that needs food, fire, water, shelter, then, and even get into an economy and resources and oil. And where we are today, what you're going to have is you're going to have one that has, one that doesn't have. And if the one that doesn't have the ability to take from who has, then they're the one that has to figure out how to make that work, or they're going to try. If you're somebody who has, or the group that has, then you're going to have to stop the have-nots from taking what you have. It's self-sustainability, pure self-preservation.
It's been happening since the beginning of time. You're right.
Eve wanted knowledge.
Go back to Cain killed Abel.
All she had to do was bite an apple to get it, and what did she do? She bit the apple.
We're still biting that apple, aren't we?
All day long.
You want to know where the fire started? Sorry, ladies, it's your fault.
Oh, okay, let's go like this. We are burned to this.
Hey, I'm missing a rib because of them.
Socialists, Nazis, guys, we're just on one today. Okay, but that's the truth. I mean, we're speaking truth here. Okay, and maybe these are conversations that people don't have, nor they don't want to have, or they don't have enough working knowledge. Okay, so we don't get too far off. Okay, I personally believe what we are seeing is the start of a global war. Because I don't think that you can do the kind of things that are actually being done right now and there not be a straw that breaks the camel's back. Look back to World War I. I mean, we are like look at the threshold of what it took to get into World War I, and you're like, damn, that's it.
Yeah.
And then you look at World War II, which was nobody could take on Germany. Germany was a superpower at that time. They were the fastest growing. Oh, everything there was. And so then they decided, hey, we're going to do kind of like what Russia did, right? We're going to go over into Poland. Now, we have to look at when all these things were. They decided
to start trying to build an empire.
Yes, but if you actually read as why they went into Poland, it was because there was a portion of Poland, a very small portion, like a 15% portion of their land, where there was what would be a lot of, quote unquote, people of the same culture. You hear the same mantra that Putin's talking about. You got Russians that found themselves in Ukraine, but they're really Russians. And so then you have the Ukrainian people who are similar in culture, but not the same, and look at them as though they're Russians and not Ukrainians, and vice versa. And then you have Putin going over there saying, well, we're going to etch out this little piece of land here because these people are more like us, and you're not doing them right. It's the same situation that happens when Europe drew the lines in Middle East. Well, we don't want these people to get too powerful, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw these lines so it separates off these different individuals. We're going to have this country with a majority Sunni population, and then we're going to have a little small population of Shiites. The next country over has a majority population of Shiite with a little bit of Sunni. These people are going to constantly be at war because they're not going to assimilate. And then there's just going to be this continued fight for their individual. So speaking of all this, right, we had Germany. Germany was doing what they were doing, and then Poland would not agree to it. So Germany's like, all right, we'll just take the whole cake. And then, oh, well, Austrians, they're Germans. We're gonna bring them in the fold. And before you knew it, they started growing so large and were such a military industrial complex that oh my God, now all of a sudden we have a common enemy. Now we got to go after somebody. We got everybody to get together to go after this group of people, this demographic, this religion, this faith, right? And then from there, well, we see what happened there. And the only way that Germany was stopped was because the whole world got together to stop them. So there is, even though you're the big dog, right? Similar to what we are today, does not mean that if we continue down this path of going and doing what we're doing in Iran, what we did in Iraq, what we've done in Afghanistan, what we're doing in Venezuela, what we're talking about doing in Greenland. Have you guys seen the world's reaction to us going and talking about we're going to take Greenland?
They're not happy.
And if you don't let us, we're going to give you a 10% tariff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's better than dropping bombs.
Isn't that the next step?
Well, yeah.
When you talk about money.
But it's been even said that I basically try to do it without putting boots on the ground, but that's not off the table, which is a threat.
Yeah.
And
yes, it is.
There's 56,000, 57,000 people there. I don't know behind the scenes of what's going on, but I do know this, to your point of what you just said earlier and all that education piece that you just gave us, that if we don't plant our flag there, and I'm not condoning it, I think it's nasty that we have to be here right now as a society, but the way things are going around the globe, somebody else will.
Well, hasn't that already been the case? Because last I was checking.
Well, look at the Panama Canal.
Yeah.
Look at that. 30,000 Americans died building that, right? 30, and they were men.
Yeah.
They got shipped over there, snake bites, falling off the thing, all that stuff, right? Mosquito, the disease that went through there. 30,000, I think, is the number. You guys can Google and look that up. Gave it to them for $1. And then another country tries to come and control it and deals with raising prices coming to America. And they're building all the products that are shipping to America, and then they're raising the prices on us to get it here. How is that fair? And we just let it happen? When are we going to stop being punks and just say, no, we're not doing that? So there's a lot there that we just gotta, you have to play to run the world. You have to have a gear that a lot of people don't have. But the reality is 95% of Americans don't have it.
But that's based upon the culture of our community and what our country.
But the rest of the world gets it.
Yeah.
Trust me. And they understand strength. And some of these countries are ran only by that. So their citizens are like, my dictator would do that if he could. I mean, so we got to really understand, right, that these moves are not nice, but the world is not nice. When you got a guy that takes a machete yesterday into a crowd and starts hacking away people, yeah, mental issues. You have to have mental issues to do that to somebody else, especially in this country, right? But it's happening, and those people are out there, and some of those people with that mindset are running countries. And so we have to be strategic and think over our next 100 years, because if we don't, we're going to be in a mess, because we're already in a mess.
What's the end game?
I think we've seen it before. You go back to, shaking me up a little bit, frankly, since the beginning. And then you go back to Rome, which was the empire that would never fall. And boy, did they.
Yeah.
And,
Persian Empire.
And we're that empire right now. We are that country. And I love this country a lot. I mean, with everything in me. I'm so grateful for the life I've had. And I would die for our country. I would. Because of what that means for my future generations. And I am worried about my kids' lifestyle right now. That's how micro-focused I am. I'm worried that my kids won't be able to buy a home because it's even hard for us. Yeah. I'm worried that my kids are going to be stacked with having a hard time finding a career because of what technology is doing. And what we've done with regulating crap to the point where companies are having to use robots to fill in people's spots because that's the next thing that on the financial books that makes sense to the board of directors. And I understand it. It doesn't mean I have to like it. There's a reality that a lot of people don't live in that they're not understanding. That's going to change here within the next 5 to 10 years in ways that we can't even imagine yet.
Very quick.
Your 9-to-5ers that are just trusting their company's going to keep going. You're one day away from coming to the office, and that your whole life is just changed again.
Yeah, and the majority of people don't even have 3 months worth of bills saved.
Over 60% of us, I think it is now.
Yeah.
And it's climbing fast. And all that COVID fake money, what happened to the economy when that money came in? Nothing. It's gone. And now people are saddled up with more debt.
And inflation out the ass.
Dude.
Because we printed all kinds of money.
And our American dollar has been shrunk down to and we're just hiding it with treasury and freaking paper money.
Yeah,
we're just playing games.
And I'll piss some people off, right? I was having a conversation with somebody about COVID and how the COVID stimulus checks were a product of why our inflation went astronomically high and why things cost more because we print all this money. And they're like, yeah, Biden. I was like,
yeah.
Wait, were you not around for that? Because that was a Trump
That's how
thing.
deep in the tunnel people are, though, man.
Yeah, a Trump thing. That was a Trump thing. Hello, you know, like where are we at here, people? And then
I was one of the privileged few that actually got a signed check.
dang,
I remember the signature on that check.
dang. And I'm not saying that, you know, given the situation, it's easy to be an
I'm
arbitrary
just
quarterback.
saying.
You know, there was somebody that commented on something that Andy said. It was on TikTok. It was a clip that we had, and you were just warning how, kind of in light of what we were talking about last week, that, you know, if we keep going down this road, I mean, there's all kinds of things that somebody could choose to do to us, such as China or Russia, that could destabilize our entire economy, such as like an EMP or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Oh yeah,
They're here ready to go.
the one
knock
person
out
that-
the electrical grid.
Yeah, they're
it's
here.
easy.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And you know what?
What happens if I lose my cell phone?
Yeah, we'll be all right in this case. My compound's good. I promise. It's unfortunate, though, that...
We only got 30 years of oil left, folks.
Not if we go take Greenland. Not if we go
No,
take Venezuela.
no, that's global supply. That is the global supply. Why are we not thinking about this and talking about it?
Well, because we hate wind energy and we hate solar panels and we hate these battery energy storage systems that are
That's
going to
racist.
go to. I know.
That's misogynistic.
I'm anti something.
My-
Whatever
okay,
that person is
so
that
here's the
believes
deal.
the way
What is the
they
other
Here's the
words I'm
deal. You
hearing?
guys,
misogyny.
Yeah, there you go. That's what that is.
my son wants to be an
And
auto
then ask me
mechanic.
why I think that, and then I'll just look at you
Like-
with a blank stare, and
It
then
just
like,
make me madder. You just make me madder.
My son wants to be an auto mechanic, and he's in all of those courses right now. And I asked him the other day, have you guys done anything looking at hybrids, electrics, what the future might hold? Because, you know, gas is, there's just not going to be
change.
gas.
it's gonna change.
And it's in your lifetime that's going to happen. It might be in mine, maybe. But in all seriousness, that's your lifetime. He's like, I don't want to be an electrician. I want to be an auto mechanic.
Well, one of these days they're going to be one and the same, right?
They
It's gonna
already should be.
And not only that, but like, okay, so this can just lead us into
this is all the kind of stuff we just refuse to think and talk about.
and that leads us into the next thing we're going to talk about, Chad. Slumber. Are people just asleep? Are they waking up? Because I have, you know, guys, I often say, obstinate ignorance, right? You're ignorant of something, and then you're obstinate, which is like you're going to push against whatever it is that you're ignorant of, right? But you can even add on to that willful ignorance. Are people willfully, obstinately ignorant? I mean, I hate to have such a negative, but
I'm the
look
wrong
at it
guy
and
to
I'm like,
ask right
wow,
now because
I
I've been awake for about 29 hours.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I'm gonna say absolutely, of course, right? We all are in certain areas.
Do we want to be?
Yes.
Is it eat, drink, be merry, happy? I mean, going
Yeah,
back to
well,
Rome,
look at our
right?
culture.
Keep these
I mean,
people busy with these things, and then
we
want to follow the-
concentrate on surviving in the now.
We want to follow the
enough.
route of least resistance, right? And it's a natural flow like water. And humans are not, most humans are not going to say, I'm getting up at 4:30 this morning. And that's why some of us do it. Just because screw you. You know? That's why some of us are fighting to stay up till a certain time at night, because we know we've done it for so long that we don't want to be up at 4. And And then there's just a choice. But most people follow the route of least resistance. And the little thing here that turns into the big thing there that becomes everybody else's fault of why the situation, it's a multitude of things over time that put us in the positions we're in. Every single one of us in this country, you have a lot of choices. I think most people are going to work to support their families, and they're struggling and hurting, and they're just looking for the weekend to spend some time with the people they love to the best of their ability and take the $20 or $30 they might have and make something of it. And some people, not even that. And they're feeling like shit because at the end of the day, they want to just order a damn pizza and hang out with the people they love, and they can't. So they put some ramen in with some hamburger and make it work. And I think a lot of people are there. And they don't want to put up with this crap. But they're being forced to get in the game. When you see, and the big scary thing, what I'm about to say, it's going to shock some people that don't understand. $9 billion is nothing to the big picture of America, frankly. But it is a lot of money for a lot of people. Enough that if that's going on there, it's probably happening in a bunch of other places. And we're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Well, I got to say, Andy, I'm going with you here, okay? I'm going with you. I believe in America First policies. I believe in America First policies, okay? Why? And it's to the breaking point with me that I understand our need to spend money to help this person or that person and global trade and all these other countries and stuff. But we are literally spending trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars, and we're not spending it on the American people. I don't believe that if we have homelessness like we do, if we have a failing education system, if we have mental illness on the rise, if we have people that can't even, that work 2 jobs. Now, granted, okay, people make their choices, all right? So I'm not in that situation. They may be, right, because of their choices. But if we've got drug addiction running wild, we've got mental health running wild, we've got homelessness running wild, we've got a shit education system. I just got to say it. We're not putting the money into our education system. In fact, there's a battle about this.
We're not evolving.
We're not. We have so many people that are dying on the vine. Okay, why not put America first and focus on social welfare's system? Because your country is only as good as the weakest person and their opportunity. Does that come full swing for you guys? Did you guys catch what I was throwing down right there?
I think I picked it up.
Why do we refuse to acknowledge there's a constitutional clause about ensuring for the general welfare of our population?
Because as long as I got mine, you. As long as I got mine, you, Chad. That's your problem.
But you know what our state legislature is doing right now? Off of a report that I cannot seem to find a copy of, so I don't understand the basis of the report. They're auditing school lunch programs because they think they paid too much money out. They think there's a whole bunch of fraud in there.
That's based upon, yeah.
Okay.
Except for that, you got to pay $2.50 for one meal for one kid a day. Add that up times 30.
But it's pretty horrible when you look at our seniors and juniors and sophomores. And I'm going to be biased here because I know these kids are athletes that are eating what they're eating, and just that it's not enough.
Well, you know what, Andy?
No, it's not enough.
I got to tell you.
But yet we're going to audit it because we're paying too much.
Well, and I hate the fact that I'm going to be real panned on this one because here's my rhino coming out here. I don't think our kids should pay for lunch at our public school.
I don't either, you socialist.
I think our kids go to school, and part of what we're paying in the most amount of taxes that's going to one entity, which is our school district, that our kids are at least guaranteed those meals when they go to school. I believe that with everything in me, that we should move everything around to make sure the core of what that means, we figure out how to get that done, and then we wash out and build around it. That's how important that is to me as somebody that was insecure with food growing up, that comes from a place where I used to act like I wasn't hungry because I didn't want to hurt my mom's feelings. That really matters to me. I was that kid. And I would have never complained, right? Because I didn't want to put that on my mom. I love her to death. But there was nights when, boy, I just wanted a half a glass of milk, you know?
So for
And there's
you,
only so much to go around.
for you, straight up, you think, I'm putting words in your mouth, you tell me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
that we just need to throw out the whole eligibility thing.
Yeah, me too. Me
You
too,
want to
Chad.
you want to fix the system, and because what they're saying is that there's a whole bunch of people who aren't eligible for the program that are in the program. Well, if we just get rid of the eligibility, then we don't have to worry about that.
And you know, here,
If the eligibility
But how
test
many of
is
those elected
if the
officials-
eligibility test is the kid is in school.
Okay, and I'll say this.
And
How many of those
there's so
elected
much
officials up in
nuance.
the Kansas legislature right now, and I got a question for y'all, okay? And you can call it my problem, and that's fine, and there's all these situations and circumstances and everything else.
I have some friends up there that are going to be like, bro, why don't you talk to me about that before you go public? Sorry, guys,
Okay,
before you call me.
Yeah, but going here, right? Going here, okay? Is we can go back to this, and not to throw something in here, but I often have had to tell people I'm pro-life, I'm not pro-birth. Okay, there are policies that I believe should be in place because I believe that when a child is conceived and comes to term, that there should be a public good that looks to financially aid a family in that situation. And there are so many people that are against that, and that's fine. That's fine. But I also hear this: you can't feed them, don't breed them. Yeah, I got that. Okay. So my thing, going back to the lunch eligibility, and I've mentioned on the program before about we need to have CHIP for, I think it's called CHIP, right?
Yep. You want CHIP for everybody?
Not for everybody. For
Children.
K through 12. Right? And my future worldview,
CHIP is for 18 and under.
is every school district, okay, having a doctor, a nurse, an assistant, a dentist, a dental assistant, and when your kid goes to school, all of those needs are taken care of at school on top of the food. Now, if you got money,
What about a social media analysis and a therapist to keep them off that crap, and rules to say that cell phones need to be regulated with children?
oh, people are already
under
losing their
16 or
shit.
under?
People are already losing it. What they're saying is, by
saying
God,
I'm
you're
a
not going to
communist.
tell my son that he can't have his phone
And
at
the libertarians
school.
do have arguments, and trust me, I have a lot of libertarian in me, but I think there's things, again, these uncomfortable waters for a lot of people. For me to just say what I said in the groups of people that I hang out with, you trust me, they're going to say something if they hear that. And that's okay, because I believe with everything in me, the most precious things we have are our children.
Yep, that's the future of our country.
If we can all rally around that, then you want to beat up on people for human trafficking and what's going on with children sexually in this country, and how we're pimping kids out in some sources at paces you would never even imagine. Until we put a focus on protecting them, all that stuff is, to me, is just talk. How about we feed them first, and we build relationships, and we build systems to help them become successful? Because for me, in this country, that's what's going to wash out the future.
Yep. And I go back to this. I was going to make this statement. How many people at the Kansas legislature, no fault to you all, okay, no fault to you all, like Andy, I've got many friends up there. I hope you understand my perspective, but many of you that are my friends understand my life circumstances and situation. And I'll ask you this question. How many of you have struggled to feed your child? How many of you up there in Topeka have been in a situation where you can't make ends meet? And have that worldview and have that understanding, and then be able to help those who are in that situation, right? How do you do this, right? We've got people that are making decisions for individuals that are not in that situation. And I gotta say, Kansas, I agree with the way that Kansas runs their legislature. It's a part-time legislature. Much of what is done is lobbying, the dirty bad word of lobbying. But these people that are professionals as to whatever it is, like prison reform or correctional reform, you're going to, as a legislator, listen to somebody who is a professional on that, whether because of life experience or for education, whatever the case may be. They're going to recommend XYZ take place in order to help solve this problem. But in the end, can you really see it from a perspective of an individual that a child who has no control over the situation that they're in, they're the ones that suffer?
Well, and there's a lot of nuance here, right? You have people that are prideful, and that's okay. And yeah, well, that's the adult's fault. Well, it's not the kid's fault. You got mom and dad that are going through a divorce. Somebody lost a job. You can't fill out your form. So now the kid's going to school, and they can't pay their lunch bill. And they're between mom and dad. Nobody's really seeing this part of their life because they're embarrassed. And
Mom and dad are struggling.
And people don't know. And at the end of the day, you got this kid going to school, has nothing to do with them. And they're in this weird situation where, am I going to be allowed to go to the lunch line today? I mean, that's not on the kids in my mind up to a certain point, right? And I just feel real strongly, especially like... Yeah, I can't believe with the resources, and this is the other thing. The system has been the way it's been for a really long time. And we haven't innovated and changed it. And what's coming down the pipe will hopefully help us reposition money to do things like that and put more attention towards giving our kids some freedom to build the future that we're going into that none of us have the answers to right now. And I got to count, and I believe in them. I truly believe in our kids. They're going to do some special things. They're a different breed than we were. And they're more like our great-grandparents, I think. You know, that they're special. And we've got to give them an opportunity, because where we're going right now, like I said last week, we're liable to get shot in the face.
Yeah.
And we better be real careful on how we tread forward. I don't have all the answers. I'm an America First kind of guy. I love my country very much. I'm not from anywhere else. This is my place. I know it's been nasty in the past, and we have a history like everybody else. But at the end of the day, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and it was awesome. And I've had friends from all different colors, shapes, and sizes. And I love all of them dearly, right? And all different sexual orientations and everything else. And why this is such a hang up these days, I'm trying to get my head around it. Because we have gone backwards, and it's not one president's fault.
Well, and I'll say this, as far as the sexuality thing, is because we are hypersexualized in this nation. In this nation, we are hypersexualized, and the access to what would have been considered in the past deviancies are more socially acceptable by force, right? And so then... everywhere you look, everywhere you go, it's always going back to that. And you cannot hypersexualize people in their brain constantly. You can't let for pornography, right, to be bombarded
30 seconds we can be on it.
with your 11-year-old or less. Just the fact that I said pornography and our phones are listening.
Oh, yeah.
Because your phone does not... What do you got?
For all the stuff our state legislature did...
So when Lance sometimes gives us these little deals, right, where he talks about people that we run into here and there, and I go on these other mediums that I'm not on because I'm older now. I'm 46, right?
You're still a baby.
I am, and I know that. And I want to take advantage of it because one day I will be older, hopefully God willing, right? Nothing crazy happens, but even then, if something ever happens to me, guys, I had a great life. Anyways, but these young people that listen to us
like that.
They're young, but they're listening to us. This one, after I had a quick call with him, found us on TikTok. I had another message from a kid on Sunday. And I mean a kid, he's in young 20s, right? It was just an amazing message. But it comes down to we are making a difference here. So I want to make sure that we know, us three, that we're speaking to a lot of young dudes that are watching our content, and they're getting together and talking about it. And I've seen a few of them at the gym together, and they have our podcast that they look for. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And they're all local people. The local young kids.
I think that's the point, Andy.
Out working.
Yeah.
The future. And how do we steward these conversations to empower them, to let them know that we're doing our best to give information to show them how this system works, but also to do our part to change the future. And I'll say this last thing. I've heard some people...
Is this your final word, Andy?
My final word.
Okay.
I've heard some people talk about the bond. And the one thing I keep hearing in multiples from my older friends, because I have a lot of older friends and I love older people for some reason. My sister was making fun of me about the other day. I was doing this as a kid. I'd go meet with older people. And I mean 60 plus when I was like 12. Now they're just like 80 and 90. I don't have kids in school. Why should I have to pay? I'm hearing that a lot. And those are a big block of voters. The 40% of the community, Lance, that votes, a big percentage of that is our older folks.
And that statement is made about every single bond issue, and it's not just in Newton.
Yeah.
I just want to implement this as we're speaking to the people that I'm going to count on. This message you just read, those guys, the group of them that's looking at us going, you read it. It's amazing, right? Our potential of what we can do. I'm going to pay. I'm paying Social Security. I will not see it. But for those people, the older ones that are watching this, that say that to me, just know that I'm grateful because my mom uses it, my uncles and aunts, I want them to have it. And I'm willing to bleed for them right now, not knowing how I'm going to get taken care of in that way. But for my fellow countrymen, I'll get it done. We've got to figure it out. And I believe our younger kiddos are going to do it for us. So please pay it forward.
Pay it forward. Chad, last word. We covered some ground this week, didn't we?
Yeah. I'm going to be honest, I've been very off my game today. Because I went through the most, by far, emotionally difficult child in need of care cases in my now almost 8 years of doing that yesterday. And I can't give details because of, got all those privacy agreements, but and I don't know if the kids will ever hear me. I said it before they walked out the door yesterday, but I want what's best for you guys, and I hope that we're able to get what's best for you. And it might not look like it to you when it's happening, but I'm not done working for what's best for you. So there you go.
And I'll say my final word. I don't know. Andy went one. Chad took it down a notch, and I'm going to go lower. So not to end on any kind of a depressing note here, folks. But the older I get, the more I realize that there are so many hurting people. So many hurting people. If you look at somebody and you see what they're doing, and you just can't believe, like, you can't wrap your head around it. Like, why would you want to be here? How could you be here? I mean, I don't understand why you make the choices that you make. And in many instances, they can't even explain it themselves. And so you just have to know that it's because we live in a world full of people that are hurting, that want to be accepted, that want to be loved, and we're not doing a whole lot as a society to make that happen. So every day, try to be the change, try to make a change, try to love on somebody, try to help somebody, even if you can't understand why they are in the situation that they're in. Just love people. Have a good one, everybody.